47th, I guess, and the turnpike there. You see it in the background right there. But there are a number of containers here visible on the outside, and a lot of equipment and stuff stored here on the external portion of it, but again, not any indication of exactly what it is that they manufacture here and or they process here. But as we said just a moment ago, a big fire.
All of this, Ralph, is happening on a breezy, windy day today. Meteorologist Vivian Gonzalez talked about that a little earlier this morning. We do not know what's inside. Talk to us as these crews are responding, the dangers of working such a scene. I mean, you can see that heavy black smoke. This is burning. It's a massive fire.
Yeah, well, the fire department is obviously aware of this by now, and they have their units here on the scene. They're also aware because they have lists and documentation of all of these warehouses and all structures. They do safety inspections and do general inspections all the time, announced and unannounced inspections to make sure that they're compliant with regulations, rules and regulations. But obviously some major malfunction or major mishap occurred at this building here, and it's going to burn for a while here. We've got, as we said before, several assets here now blocking the roadway here. Those are fire rescue vehicles. They've already got one on the property right there, and I can see that they've run a hose to an adjacent water source right there, so they're going to be starting to put water on it. But of course, there you go right now, and they've got to determine also what exactly they're putting water on. So that's the big thing we've seen. It looks like we can't tell if it's been a roof collapse, but we can tell you that it looks like there's portions of the building right there that are falling in on themselves again. So this could have been an occupied building. We're not 100% sure at this time. We haven't received that information yet, but a big fire here burning. Let me just bring the camera back there just for a second. You're going to see the skid, but take a look.
Wow.
We're at about 600-700 feet right now, and it's going up to the cloud tops there. That smoke is going, and it's going off to the west-northwest. I put it at this time.
And Ralph, we do have another angle we want to show our viewers. That tower cam, you're closer to the scene, but look at that from a distance. So if anyone in the area notices this heavy black smoke pouring into the air there, this is why there's a massive warehouse fire in northwest Miami-Dade. You will be able to see this for miles as crews are responding, working this 4-alarm warehouse fire. We are waiting to learn more information, but this, of course, will be affecting traffic. As Ralph just mentioned, crews are blocking the areas as they respond. And Ralph, you've covered many fires. Tell us what a 4-alarm warehouse fire, what does a 4-alarm fire mean?
Well, every time they put out or add an alarm to a fire, they're asking for more manpower and for more equipment to help battle the blaze, and it's also just also support all the equipment that is possible in the area. And then, of course, that alarm signals to other agencies and other facilities, firefighting facilities in the area, that they may be covering greater areas on a map while other firefighters attend to this blaze here. And we're looking now at a section towards the west side of the property there, and you can see that the tremendous heat here has caused this, we believe, to be metal shedding material here to collapse in on itself there. You can see a couple of vehicles parked very close to that, and we're still waiting to try to get some information as to exactly what this building is and what kind of processes and or storage it was used for. But as you can see, pretty much anywhere we poke or point the camera there, you see a massive flame shooting up in the air. I
mean, the smoke is just pouring over. It's taking over this area here. We do see a lot of vehicles in the area. What's concerning, we don't know if we see anyone around the building, correct? We don't know if this is, in fact, an occupied warehouse.
We haven't seen that. Give me 1 second. Can we circle this thing, or can we, we're going to do a wide circle around it here.
Okay.
You'll see the skids from the helicopter in the shot there momentarily, but we're going to go ahead and try to get to some other pictures.
While you do that, Ralph, we are... while you do that, we are looking at this tower cam once again. A massive warehouse fire taking place in northwest Miami-Dade. Crews have arrived. Of course, more crews will be responding. They'll be blocking the surrounding areas, all of this northwest 47th Avenue. And again, you're looking, they're beginning to pour water, but look at that smoke, heavy smoke seen for miles in the distance there. The main concern right now is, was anyone inside that warehouse? We saw several vehicles there. We are waiting to figure out what kind of warehouse, what's in storage there. Ralph mentioned there may have been some sort of explosion because of some of the materials, but an active fire burning right now and has been burning for at least 15 minutes now. The hope right now is that anyone who was there managed to get out, if that was in fact the case, hoping there were no injuries, hoping everyone is okay. And now we also hope that our firefighters stay safe while they work to get this fire under control. But right now it is still burning. Go ahead, Ralph.
I'm sorry, just giving a little guidance here to our pilot here, just as to what we're going to do. The smoke is so intense here on the west side that we're not going to fly through it. We just elected not to. So we're going to stay right now as we're positioned here on the south side of the back now towards the turnpike there at the top of the screen. That's the Florida Turnpike extension right in the area between 47th and 42nd Avenues there. And then the roadway out to the front here is going to be the main north-south artery there. That's where the fire department has set up their equipment. For people just tuning in or people getting calls about a fire burning in northwest Miami-Dade, this is parallel to the Hard Rock Stadium. If we flew due east of mile and a half, we'd be at the stadium. So that would give people an idea of the proximity of this location right now. There was a facility below here, kind of a halfway house facility back in the late 70s and 80s that has been pretty much abandoned here. There are just a couple of small buildings here that are still remaining, but so that's the closest. And then on the east side of the street, we want to just, for the sake of coverage, there's some new construction there, some warehouses off in the distance there, and then we have what would be the, I guess, I'm trying to remember the name of this facility or this place out here, but it's Miami, it's north of Miami Gardens in the Miami Gardens area there, just before you get to County Line. That's the canal right there separates the county line from into Broward County. So we have the fire burning, we have crews on the scene. We're efforting to get you some more information as to exactly what is burning here and how the fire started. We can see here we've got support trucks, there's dump trucks parked outside here, and there's a bunch of other vehicles there, assorted vehicles parked on the south side of the building there. But you can see the smoke and flame, smoke pouring out and the flames there shooting high into the sky here. So whatever is inside that building or was inside that building is on fire. It's going to be completely gone.
And Ralph, while firefighters battle this fire, this massive fire, we want to bring in meteorologist Jackson Dill to tell us how the wind will affect. Again, we're looking for the tower here, Jackson. You can see that heavy smoke. We're going to want to know in which direction will those in our viewers be seeing the smoke. He mentioned that those in the Broward area will begin to see it. You said it's not far from the Hard Rock. So Jackson, tell us how the wind will be affecting.
Well, we have been dealing with Lorena, a very strong east-southeasterly breeze throughout today, so you could see that smoke getting picked up and driven by that wind, and with that wind out of the east-southeast, it is bringing that wind across extreme parts of northwestern Miami-Dade in through southwestern parts of Broward County, so especially western parts of Miramar, Pembroke Pines. We're seeing that thickest of the smoke above the surface, but this will definitely lead to reduced air quality, so especially near and west of I-75. That's definitely where we're seeing a lot of that smoke being focused right now, but especially away from our most populated communities, much of the metro, thankfully being saved from the smoke given that east-southeast winds.
Okay, and again, 11:15 this morning, folks will be out on the roadways. They'll be seeing the heavy smoke from this massive warehouse fire burning in northwest Miami-Dade. Crews are attacking. They're obviously on the defensive, trying to put this fire out. But as you can see, it is huge. And Jackson, of course, the wind makes it only a little tougher for firefighters. Today happened to be a pretty breezy day.
Yeah, and we have no rain out there right now, so it's likely going to be a dry day, no heavy downpours in the forecast. And as you mentioned, Lorena, that wind is going to allow for that fire to continue to spread very quickly. So this looks like it's making for a hard, difficult time for the firefighters to really get an act on this fire right now.
Yeah, so we are staying on top of these images here. A warehouse just burning out of control here. We see several vehicles surrounding the area, still waiting to get any information from authorities or firefighters to see any reported injuries. Was anyone inside that warehouse? Who exactly called to report the fire? But again, as we are watching these images, you can see this from miles away. This burning in northwest Miami-Dade, a 4-alarm fire. And we are going to keep it on here. All of this, of course, developing this morning. Ralph Rayburn. Ralph, you're there on the scene. At this morning hour, we know that firefighters had to block several streets in the nearby area to begin fighting this blaze. Can you tell us a little bit of the traffic situation? Do we see any sort of impact while this burns out of control?
Yeah, they have closed down the roadway there. That's the middle of 208th Street, 215th Street there,
okay.
Looking northbound there up towards Broward County, and they have that roadway closed. It's going to remain closed, obviously, while they continue the fire. We've developed a little bit of information. We understand that running around the outside of the building is an 8-inch water main. It goes all the way around the building, circles the building, so they do have water sources that they can tap right into. And what they've done is they have different have a major command post where they're making the decision making is going on, but then they also have different avenues here for firefighters. There's a northern exposure firefighting group, and there's an eastern and a western and a southern group that are working at different areas of the where the fire is burning there. So it's a massive fire, and it's going to be taking a lot of firefighters into harm's way here.
Yeah, well, this does appear to be an industrial area, so it doesn't seem to be too populated surrounding this warehouse, but we have seen the collapse of the roof because of this heavy fire that, again, you see the flames there to the left-hand side of this warehouse from this vantage point. It is still burning. Crews are on the other side pouring in. I guess that is some sort of good news to know that there are water sources around the building. Ralph, we are still waiting to learn if there were any people inside. Still don't see any people around, but hopefully if there was, they were able to evacuate this area there. Ralph, do you see any additional crews? Have they arrived on scene? I know that on the other side there was a ladder. We saw that water being poured into the top of the building there.
Yeah, we do. There is a staging area that's just to the east of the fire here. We can show you right here. You'll see they're now on the main road, the main drag there. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 pieces of apparatus that have arrived, and we understand there are still many more en route that are going to be coming here, because what they'll do is the firefighters obviously have a certain amount of time they run on air before they have to swap out, and they'll be either attending to the fire. But their primary concern right now would, of course, be any casualties, if there are any, if people was anybody inside. We have not heard of any fire rescue dispatch for rescue personnel. And of course, with a fire burning like this, you don't get firefighters running into a burning building like this to look to clear a building to make sure there are no people or no occupants inside. The first and foremost, they want to try to bring the fire under control. And if there's any information they can gather from people that work there, neighbors, anybody who saw anything, of course, they're looking for that information to help them determine exactly what they're up against.
And Ralph, we want to bring in a 7 News viewer and Miami Gardens resident Juan Reyes. He's on the phone with us, joining us now. Juan, tell us, where are you and what are you seeing?
So right here, I'm on the cusp of Miami Gardens and entering Miramar, and in my backyard, I saw what I thought was gray clouds. So I peeled back my curtain and I saw a huge amount of smoke pouring into the sky, and it alarmed me. So I said, you know what? Let me look outside and see what's going on. And I see a helicopter flying, and I see a lot of smoke. So I hear sirens. I still hear the helicopters flying above. Right now, I'm seeing a lot of a lot of smoke going into the air, which seems to be calming down a little bit, but it's still a lot of smoke coming from that site where the fire is.
Wow, so this is affecting those of you at home who live in the area, that smoke. Have you been outside or have you stayed indoors? Obviously, it's probably something you don't want to inhale.
No, I've been indoors. I have a clear view from my kitchen, which faces west, so I can see a helicopter flying around. I can see all the smoke just pouring into the air.
Pretty shocking to see, I'm sure, on a Thursday morning, not what you'd expect, to find out there's a massive warehouse fire and that smoke is just kind of poured onto your area.
Absolutely.
All right, Juan Reyes, thank you so much. We'll have you standing by, and thank you for taking the time to talk to us. And Jackson, just talking about him, he's in Miami Gardens, so this just, when it comes to the wind, I mean, tell us what can we expect, obviously, based on this location.
Yeah, at least based off where we are believed to think this fire is happening, at least where the worst of the smoke is. Miami Gardens is just east of the fire, so thankfully for that community in parts, east of there, the smoke will remain away from the area overall, but with, again, that easterly wind, that's going to continue to push that smoke. So whenever we see those wider shots of this active warehouse fire, we are seeing that smoke being pushed off toward the west and toward the northwest across other parts of northwest Miami-Dade and southwestern Broward. Yes, Ralph.
Yeah, just a note here. We just found out that the western side of this building there, they store corrosive materials and chemicals. So the group of firefighters that were on the west side are being told to move out of the way of what's burning there, so they're not directly in the line of that smoke there. So again, just a little bit more information as to exactly what is burning down there. And of course, if you're to the west here, there is a trailer park or mobile home park right down here to the south, but it doesn't appear to be affected right now. And then we've got quite a bit of distance before we do have development there out to the west, off near the turnpike there, near Honey Hill Road there. So. And the smoke is going up. The smoke is going much farther up before it starts to dissipate or be absorbed up into the clouds up there. So at this time, 4 alarm. We understand now. Also, we're hearing that the Miramar Fire Department is on the same communications with they're doing a face-to-face right now with the county fire department to determine where their assets are going to be deployed to help fight this fire. So you have Miramar and Miami-Dade County now involved in this firefight.
All right, and Ralph, our 7's Alex Browning is joining us now on the phone as well. As something like this happens, we get our crews to the scene there. Alex, tell us, what do you see from where you are?
In Lorena, we moved us from our Broward Bureau in Fort Lauderdale. We're probably 20 miles or so away when we started to get on the road headed to this fire, and you just see the massive plumes of smoke there from Ralph's vantage point, and you can essentially see those massive plumes from I-95, 595 as a landmark. Oftentimes you drive in around county line and you can see the Qatar, right? That's such a landmark visually on the skyline here, but that plume of smoke basically taking over the western skyline as you're in the areas of Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale, near FLL, 595, 95. I mean, you just see how massive this fire is. You heard from Ralph. Obviously, there may be chemicals there at that warehouse, certainly adding to that dark color we're seeing from this fire as it rips through this massive warehouse there just near county line and the turnpike. But certainly drivers along Turnpike 95, 595, you can see this fire from easily 20, 30 miles away. Just shows you the power, the catalyst there burning of those possible chemicals there at the site.
Yeah, and what's so dangerous now is to learn that firefighters do have to move out of that side of the building, right? As Ralph mentioned, the western part of the building, they've learned there are certain materials and chemicals that make this so much more dangerous for these firefighters who are trying to eagerly put this out. We, of course, haven't heard from officials yet, but Alex, talked to us about anyone with health issues. You do not want to be outside when there is such smoke there in the area.
Yeah, and talk about that perspective. I mean, to be able to see that smoke from that far away, the bureaus over Davie and Andrews, I mean, that's a good ways away from what we're talking about, county line and the turnpike, and that just shows you the extensive reach of this fire, the size, the power behind it, those accelerants we're talking about. We do know traffic in the area You do usually have those slowdowns when people are trying to look at what's going on, but we do know local roads around that area have been shut down because of this massive response from agencies across both Broward and Dade as they try to get a tackle on this massive blaze.
And we're looking at this right now as we stay, if you don't mind staying with us, Alex. We're looking at there are road closures there. Of course, they had to close the roads there for firefighters to get to the scene. This is an industrial area. Usually when something like this happens, we'll hear from fire officials soon. They'll set up a place that's safe for reporters to get to the scene and get any information. Do you see, you are at the Bureau, correct? Or near the area?
We're still a good ways away. We're just getting off the turnpike here to get a little bit closer, but we did see from Ralph's vantage point that there is a pretty large response from fire rescue, and oftentimes we do have that where they'll have to shut down any roadways just because of the massive size of the response, as well as the danger involved in this fire, and you never know what can happen with an active fire. But again, you're talking about a 40, 50 foot, maybe 100 foot plume of smoke there. Luckily, it looks like it's heading west, so it's not impacting the turnpike, 595, 95, really any major roadways around where this fire is. But again, if you have plans this afternoon to head in that area, you're certainly going to have some delays as this response only gets bigger as fire crews try to get a handle of this as this fire rips through this massive warehouse here.
All right, 7's Alex Browning is there on the phone. He is headed to the scene. Alex will be talking to you in a bit. We want to get back to 7's Ralph Rayburn. He's been above this story, a developing story, massive warehouse fire here in northwest Miami-Dade. Ralph, does it look like, we see these flames still burning. What's so concerning is the chemicals and what is being stored inside the facility there.
Well, of course, they're concerned about the safety of the firefighters, but also if there's any rescues that need to take place here. They have a command post set up, and immediately the hazmat team that responded out here, I'm looking at my fire screen information here, and I'm counting more than 20, 25 different pieces of equipment that have already been dispatched and either have arrived on the scene or are getting here. There's water sources all around the property. We heard them asking for bolt cutters to cut through a couple of fences to access fire hydrants that were on the property here to put water on this fire. The fire dispatch originally went out at about 10:45 this morning. Crews responding out here on the scene saw heavy black smoke and flames. The firefight escalated from a code 1 fire, a single alarm, all the way to a 4-alarm fire. And they're now splitting up the talk groups. That's who talks to who on the radios while they're fighting the fire into different segments around the perimeter of this fire so that they can get more questions answered quickly and get more information disseminated out to the firefighters that are fighting this fire. For example, we mentioned a short time ago about toxic chemicals and combustibles material that's inside. They already know certain areas of the building that they have to stay away from, but because of the possibility of dangerous explosions occurring. But they will, of course, attempt to remediate the fire itself. And again, now we have another water stream here set up on the south side of the fire here, putting water on the fire. But obviously you can see that it's an overwhelming fight at this point in time because they have to set up all this different equipment and then coordinate it all. And this is something that they practice and are familiar with, but this is one of the larger firefights that we've seen in quite a while here in Dade County.
This really is, Ralph, and not long, moments ago we heard from a resident, someone who is at home in Miami Gardens. He looks out back at his backyard, and he is on the phone with us to tell us what he saw. Juan, thanks again for staying on the phone with us. What is it looking like now there as you look out your window?
So right now there's still a lot of smoke, but it's not. It seems to have turned from dark to whitish gray. There's still a lot of a good amount of smoke pouring out from that site. Very, very still. The wind looks like it's blowing it a little bit north, but there's still a lot of smoke still pouring out from that burning site.
Okay. And have you been watching at all to see, have you been watching us on 7 News to see the actual fire, the flames burning? Your reaction to see just such a massive warehouse fire?
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching it, and it's something that you won't believe that's going to happen right in your neighborhood. At first, I thought maybe a plane crash, but when I saw it was a warehouse fire, and that's the way I usually take to my office every day, at first I thought it was either a plane crash or dark clouds. It was going to rain. When I peeled back my curtain and I saw pouring out, seemed to have started maybe around 11 a.m. and just a lot of smoke.
And Juan, it is scary, right? In this day and age, you see something like that, and unfortunately, our minds do race to, my goodness, was this a plane crash? What happened? We do not know what started this fire. The exact address, 20600 Northwest 47th Avenue. It is a warehouse. We see several heavy trucks and several vehicles surrounding it. We do not see any people besides firefighters and first responders. So we are waiting to learn more about, was this an occupied building? All we know right now is that there are chemicals and, certain materials in that building that had firefighters having to move to a safer location while they continue to try to put out this fire. For those of you just joining us, this has been happening here for the last at least 30 minutes as we continue to stay on top of this 4-alarm warehouse fire in Northwest Miami-Dade. People can see the smoke if you're in the area and beyond for miles and miles away. You see that from our tower cam. And meteorologist Jackson Dill has been with us. We spoke about this earlier today. This happening on a breezy day. For those of us who are just joining us, Jackson, if you can just talk to us a little bit about the wind conditions and why the wind is blowing in that direction.
Well, the winds are definitely playing a factor in this, Lorena. The winds are strong, so it's been allowing for that fire to spread fairly quickly. You can see how far and massive this fire is. The saving grace, at least for most locations here in South Florida, is that we have this wind that's coming out of the east-southeast. You can see how that smoke has been blowing across areas farther inland, so especially areas near I-75 and across extreme northwestern Miami-Dade, southwestern parts of Broward, so western Pembroke Pines, western parts of Miramar, Southwest Ranches. That's especially where you are seeing that smoke in the sky right now. From all of our shots we're looking at so far, it seems like a lot of that smoke has been above the ground, so that's been good, but I'm sure we're still seeing some reduced air quality. And so definitely if you are in those areas I just mentioned, you will want to stay inside or use a face covering, a protective mask, because the air quality likely is a little bit worsened because of that smoke around.
Because it is an industrial area, but the smoke is blowing quickly, and what's concerning, it's black smoke. This is still a very active fire. You have multiple crews on scene. I mean, when it's a 4-alarm fire, that means they need additional resources. Anyone that can make it to this scene right here, as you see there, firefighters working hard. We hope they stay safe as they continue to try to battle this blaze. We know that many 7 News viewers, they are driving to work and to appointments, and they are seeing the smoke for miles and miles away. We want to talk to another viewer here who's joining us now. Lisa, you were on the way to the doctor. Tell us what you saw and your reaction.
Yes, I was coming from, I was on Pembroke Road coming from the west to my doctor's office, who's on 62nd and Pembroke, and I saw the black smoke, and I wasn't allowed to continue on Pembroke Road. I had to turn north on University Drive and then cut across to get to my doctor. I saw the ambulances blaring. I didn't know what it was. I thought maybe it was a plane crash, and I submitted pictures to Channel 7 because I love Channel 7. So that's all I saw. So I didn't know. I was told it was a warehouse fire, but I didn't know exactly what it was. I thought at first it was a plane crash since it looked like so close to Perry Airport.
Right, and that is what the concern. You mentioned it. A Miami Gardens resident, Juan, he thought the same thing. That's something that, due to this day and age, you never know what can happen. No reports of a plane crash, though. We do not know what started this fire, but unfortunately, our minds do go there. And did this affect the traffic situation? Did you get to where you were headed?
Yes, I am at my doctor's office right now as we speak. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Well, glad. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, Lisa. I know it's a scary situation when we see, smoke for miles and miles. Unfortunately, it is heavy black smoke that is still burning. We know that there are 13 Miramar fire units on the scene helping Miami-Dade firefighters. All of this happening in northwest Miami-Dade, not far from Miami Gardens. That is why residents in that area are seeing the smoke from their very own backyard, looking out their windows. Let's get right back to Ralph Rayburn. He's been staying on top of this. And Ralph, we see more smoke. We see white smoke pouring from that side of the building, but we see a lot of black smoke. That's not a good sign.
No, it's not. And it's whatever's inside this building is obviously on fire. They're saying now, we mentioned before, there's some caustic and hazardous materials inside, including the possibility of ammonium nitrate, which is, I believe, is a fertilizer product, which would be very volatile and could create a bigger problem. But as one of our alert viewers said, it appears that they're getting some water on the fire. We're seeing a little bit more gray smoke to white smoke there in some areas where the firefighters have either breached through fences and gotten a little bit closer. They're putting water in there. Most of the water streams that we saw were from aerial equipment, aerial ladders and stuff, and now it appears that they have some guys on the boots on the ground right there outside of the building there, and they're doing a survey here. You can see they've got a tanker truck here. This is going to be pumping water from a water source, fire hydrant there, and supplying other firefighters around this side of the south side of the building here with a water source for them to hook up their equipment. But it continues to burn, and we're coming up on almost an hour. Maybe, just in a couple of minutes, it'll be an hour that this fire has been burning out here in Northwest Dade. And again, 206th Street, 47th Avenue, just south of the big dump there, which is just south of the Turnpike extension. You can see the Turnpike at the top of the screen now. Smoke blowing from the east to the west, as we said earlier. Four-alarm fire at this point. A number of assets already responding out here. The roadway there, 47th Avenue to the east, in front of the structure that's on fire, is littered there with firefighter apparatus and equipment that's all set up and deploying. Now, a lot of times the vehicles are parked out here out of harm's way, but the personnel leaves that stuff, takes their equipment, and goes in and is deployed to assist in whatever way needed here to fight the fire or to perform rescues or whatever else is needed. So you've got a big fire stream there coming from that's the northeast corner there, hitting the fire. Then there's one centrally located here on the east side with their stream, and then down here to the south we've got an engine company there that's got water to firefighters on the ground there. Right there you can see the stream behind the tree, right, effectively putting water there on the fire. So again, no reports of injuries at this moment. We're still waiting for more information to come from the fire department here, and we're going to continue to watch with you.
An hour later, Ralph, we are seeing some gray smoke, so little bit of progress here. But again, you're looking at all the different vantage points here of that smoke pouring into the air. It could be seen for miles away. We've heard from residents in Miami Gardens. We heard from a woman who was driving to her doctor's appointment. Many people so concerned when they see this. Many people thinking, my goodness, was there a plane crash? What is happening? Especially with all that's happening in the world. But it's a massive warehouse fire burning in northwest Miami-Dade. Miami-Dade firefighters are working, as you know it. They're doing the best they can to put this out as safe as possible because of the chemicals in the warehouse here. 13 Miramar fire units are assisting. We counted more than a dozen there on the side of the road as they block the area so crews can do what they do best. Our 7's Alex Browning, he has been on the way from the scene. He reported how much of the smoke can be seen. And 7, Alex, I know you're with us now. Tell us, what are you seeing at this moment?
We're just right now off of Miramar Parkway, trying to get closer to the warehouse in question here. But I can tell you, traffic on the Turnpike near Red Road, as you mentioned, curious drivers trying to figure out what's going on. We did see some delays there and some slowdowns, but right now, fire crews have 47th Avenue, Palm Avenue, near the Turnpike, just south of the Turnpike, shut down. They're trying to redirect folks away just because of the massive response. We do know that we have Miami-Dade Fire Rescue there. Units from Miramar Fire are coming to assist as well because, again, this is a massive, we cover a lot of structure fires. We cover residential fires a lot. This is something you just can tell. There are accelerants. There is something in this warehouse that is just fueling the flames here. Certainly something we don't often see, this dark black smoke just billowing into the sky. It looks, you can't help but stop and wonder what's going on. Certainly for our viewers out there trying to figure out in the area of Miramar, County Line, Northwest Dade, what's happening. Again, 47th Avenue, Palm Avenue in the Miramar County Line area. Southbound traffic is being redirected near the turnpike, and that's likewise for anyone trying to go north here on 47th. But a massive blaze that continues to burn, as you can see from Ralph's vantage point there. But luckily, it looks like the wind is blowing it west, northwest, where we do have the landfill here. So it doesn't look like any direct homes are impacted. Certainly, you have commerce as well as other industrial warehouses here in the area. But right now, it doesn't look like really anything in terms of neighborhoods, homes being impacted from the smoke. But again, we're just coming up here on the turnpike. The road's shut down. Traffic's being diverted as we try to get a little bit closer, as it's certainly a massive firefight ahead for our first responders as they try to tackle this blaze, as those accelerants, which are believed to be inside there, those chemicals are just fueling this massive fire.
And you said it, Alex. I mean, it's been an hour that this fire has been burning, and we've seen black smoke, just beginning to see some gray. But when Ralph had zoomed in there at the top left hand of your screen, you could see that there was some sort of a truck or vehicle there that is on fire, right? So it is spreading to that area. As he zooms in now, you can see we've seen this throughout the lot. There have been several vehicles that appears to look like a food truck or bus there surrounding this property. We do not yet know what type of property or warehouse this is, but we do know that what's inside, a very dangerous situation for the firefighters who are working to try to contain this and fight this out. But again, they do have to stay to a certain side, and they're doing what they do best to put out this fire. We're only seeing a little bit of gray smoke, though. Still heavy black smoke in this area. We know that when something like this happens, people are on the roadway. People have been taking video, posting it to social media, and of course sending it here to 7 News. Whenever something happens, we of course ask that you send it to 7. Look, this is from one viewer there posting that there. You can see that incredible sight of smoke. I mean, people talking about how scared they were, shocked to see this. Many people thinking, was it a plane crash? What happened? What we can tell you is it's a massive warehouse fire in Northwest Miami-Dade that you can see from miles and miles away. Although it is an industrial area, the smoke may affect you. If you have any health issues, you just want to be careful. But right now, we can tell you Miami-Dade firefighters are doing the best they can to put this out. At least 13 units, fire units with Miramar's department are on the scene assisting. And you can rest assured that many more people will be responding to this as they continue to try to contain this fire on a pretty breezy Thursday. That's the other thing we've been talking about. It's not only the chemicals inside that warehouse, but it's been a pretty breezy day that certainly doesn't help firefighters at this time, and the smoke pouring to the west side here. So again, for those of you just joining us, this massive warehouse fire burning in Northwest Miami-Dade can be seen from miles away, especially those in the Miami Gardens area. No reports of any injuries just yet. We're waiting to hear from fire officials to tell us what they can, but the priority right now is containing this and putting it out the best they can, knowing that there are accelerants and chemicals in the building. Ralph Rayburn is there above it. Ralph, we are seeing a little more gray smoke.
Yeah, a little more gray smoke, and they just indicated that this they put a 1-hour incident time on it, just as you were calling our name here. We're getting information that this is one of the facilities here or buildings here is called Miami Gardens Storage, and the other is a Global Warehouse Solutions. is the name of the other one. The buildings are a little bit older in stature. They've been here for a while, according to the information we've got. It appears that when the fire started and the roof of the building here caught fire, the building roof structure collapsed in on itself there, and that's part of what is burning there right now. So there's material underneath the roof that will get an oxygen, or not an oxygen, but an air source once that burns off the root structure, parts of the root structure. So we're going to see this degradation of the fire as it turns, it burns on itself. That's what the firefighters are saying right now. Fire streams, as we indicated, all around. They identified a water main source, an 8-inch water main, which is good news for the firefighters because it'll supply water 360 degrees around the building. At one point early on, they made it a 4-alarm fire for manpower and for resources to fight the fire. As we said just a moment ago, it's been an hour now since firefighters first received word of the fire occurring here at 206th Street and Northwest 47th Avenue. Crews deployed all around the building and were on all sides until a short time ago, when it was determined that some of the products that were inside the building were of a corrosive nature and chemicals that could be problematic in a firefight. So they have moved most of the assets that were on the west side here around, still working on that side, but out of harm's way as far as what's being generated by the smoke. As we mentioned earlier, we hadn't received any word of injuries, and we have not seen anyone transported from this area. The roadway here east of the fire, that's 47th Avenue from top to bottom of the screen. And as we zoom in here, you can see a number of assets here from the county, from Miami-Dade County. And then just across the border there in Broward, Miramar firefighters responded also. There were firefighters chatter on the radios as we were flying over here, as far north up into and as far west as to Weston. People seeing the firefighters seeing the smoke and wondering exactly what was going on. So until a determination was made and that information spread across the radio band there to let them know that it was a warehouse fire, people had no idea what exactly was burning, but it could be seen all the way up into Broward County. So firefighters here. They've set up a command post, which is right in this area right here where we're focused right now, and that's where they'll be making the decisions as to which asset goes where, which firefighter and which group of firefighters are deployed. They set up a medical tent already because firefighters, once they are deployed and exposed to this, they no more than 20 minutes on air before they have to go and get checked out, and of course they take the blood pressure, make sure every firefighter is okay and cleared to go back in and do more firefighting. So there you see 3 streams of water coming from the east side here. Down here below on the south side, the side that we're up to now, we have a second engine company, a third engine company there. You can see the hose is running from the from one tanker to another as they pump water towards closer to the building, to where the ground units are attempting to access the area there. We told you earlier that they were cutting through fences here to gain access. You see that happening right there in the center of your screen. The intensity of the fire, no question about it, the fact that it's big and that it spread very quickly, but the intensity, there are several vehicles that were parked outside of the buildings here, and they caught fire and burned from the extreme heat that's being generated from this fire. So we continue to watch with you. As we get more information, we'll get it back to you. That's our story for now.
All right, Ralph. And 7's Alex Browning just arrived near the scene there. Alex, we're waiting for you to pop up here to see, or what can you tell us? There we are. Yeah, we see that heavy black smoke behind you.
It is pretty thick and dark. Perimeter pretty large here. Miami-Dade Sheriff deputies keeping things clear so first responders, those firefighters can work. And just in case we have additional units come in, this is 47th and 215th Street. We are just south of the Turnpike, right near the trash and recycling center, that North Dade Recycling Center. Let's go ahead, Jeff, and pan into this dark smoke you see just pluming into the sky here because of those heavy winds. Now, again, it's really not clear what type of facility this is, but a quick search online, it seems like some sort of industrial storage area, storage warehouse. They deal with It appears some sort of tractor trailer storage, maybe. I know, Ralph, I heard over the radio from first responders there was some worry about accelerants, some chemicals being stored there on the site. But we did see some large containers in the area of this storage facility. So it's, again, not really clear what set fire just before an 11 o'clock this morning. Reports of some sort of explosion and then this massive fire response. We do have Miami-Dade Fire Rescue as well as Miramar, and I'm sure other agencies assisting in this massive blaze, this massive firefight. But you can just see how quickly this smoke is moving because of that easterly wind coming off the coast, pushing all of this to the northwest. Again, as we were coming in from Broward, some slowdowns on the turnpike here around Red Road. But again, right now, 47th Avenue pretty much shut down on both sides to the north here at 215th and from what I guess closer south as cars, drivers are redirected because of this. You have a massive perimeter here to give room to our first responders as they try to fight this. Again, as far as the extent of the smoke, you see how dark it is, and it is continuing to burn here. We can just see these plumes continue to grow off of this site. Don't really smell anything. That could be because of the wind, again, pushing it all to the northwest here away from us. As far as what goes into this firefight, you can imagine how complicated it is. And again, if we take another look from 7 Skyforce, giving you really a better vantage point here, this is a massive, again, blaze that crews are trying to really get their hands around. But you can imagine from what Ralph reported earlier this morning, there are accelerants. We're dealing with potentially an industrial facility here, so you never know what's inside. We did see some containers there on the property. So again, a massive fight that crews from multiple agencies, at least 20 or so units and more growing as they try to get a handle on this. But again, if you are in the area heading out this afternoon, you're going to try to stay away from County Line, the Turnpike, 47th Avenue here as this firefight continues, as this massive blaze burns.
All right, Alex. Ethan Callaway here joining Lorena Estrada in our special report as our coverage continues of this massive warehouse fire in northwest Miami-Dade. I understand we have 7's meteorologist Vivian Gonzalez on the phone. Viv, you were in the area, I'm told, and drove sort of through this smoke. What are you seeing and where are you right now?
Absolutely. I'm driving north on I-75. I just got past the county line between Miami-Dade and Broward County, and you could see the massive plume of smoke to my right-hand side, and it is rather impressive from my vantage point, but the actual plume of smoke traveling through I-75. So from a distance, you could see the plume, and I was able to drive through that plume of smoke. So definitely very thick. And at some point, that smoke will definitely settle. But that easterly wind certainly carrying that smoke through the highway, and rather impressive view as you're driving, because you're looking to your right-hand side and you see this huge, huge plume of dark smoke. Not sure what is burning in that industrial fire, but definitely something that people should be aware of, because at some point that smoke settles, the particles will settle. So for those of you who do suffer from respiratory issues or allergies, definitely take the proper precautions, because it seems like that smoke, that fire is definitely not contained at this point. But just driving through it, an impressive view heading north on I-75 this afternoon.
Viv, I want to ask you, did you notice it causing any real visibility issues for those on I-75 or in the area, or was it more just you could see the smoke close to you in that area?
You could see the smoke. It almost looks like it's trying to get a little bit lower. It just depends on how that fire gets contained, whether it gets thicker. But at some point, that smoke is going to lower at a certain point. I'm not sure if it will restrict visibility, but it is a possibility because just driving through it, it was very visible from my vantage point.
All right, let's get to meteorologist Jackson Dill. Viv, thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon. Jackson, talk to us about the conditions right now.
Well, as Lorena, as Vivian mentioned, we are seeing a lot of that smoke just above the surface, so visibility not necessarily affected too much. But we just popped up my radar map here. You can see that on the left-hand corner of your screen. And usually with radar, we use it to detect rain, thunderstorms, that kind of stuff. But you can also see the smoke being picked up very nicely here on the radar picture as we have those greens and yellow shadings on the map showing where that smoke is currently being detected. Now, we do have that wind that's mainly out of the east and east-southeast, and so that's been blowing the smoke off toward parts of the turnpike right by the county line, parts of I-75 and back toward US 27, so especially by Pembroke Pines and Miramar. Davie, that's where we are seeing some of that smoke right now. As Vivian mentioned, we are going to be watching for some of that smoke to possibly settle down closer toward the surface later today. It really depends on how the winds evolve, how strong they are, how much and how quickly the firefighters have a grasp on putting out this fire. But for the time being, we're seeing a lot of that smoke getting fanned off toward the northwest. Was just looking at air quality reports across the area. They're all showing good air quality right now, although they were updated just at 11 o'clock this morning. So we should get another update hopefully in a few minutes from now. So especially if you are in southwestern parts of Broward, northwestern parts of Miami-Dade, that's where you will want to stay inside because air quality is likely going to continue to get worse later on today into this afternoon as we follow the smoke being carried off toward the northwest.
Air quality definitely a concern, as you pointed out, Jackson, and we do want to point out to our viewers just joining us, one of the key points here, information we still do not have, is if anyone was inside this warehouse at the time of this apparent explosion and the fire starting, and if anyone has been injured potentially, has been transported to a hospital, any injuries, any casualties, we just don't have any word on that right now. Obviously something we're working to get more information on, but this, of course, is in its earliest stages of the investigation, and those firefighters are really just focusing right now, as you can see, on getting this fire put out, which is no easy task.
No, much respect to the firefighters. They're in the front lines working so bravely to put out this fire. We know that 13 fire units with Miramar are on the scene there, dozens of others with Miami-Dade as they continue to try to put this fire and contain it. We are seeing a little more gray smoke. This fire again burning for more than an hour now. It's been heavy black smoke, but right now we are seeing some gray. Again, this is what many of you are seeing. Many drivers have been seeing. You can see that smoke pouring into the air from miles away. It looks a little more gray at this point than it did before. So we have a crew on the scene. We have our own colleagues who just went home not too long ago and they drove through the smoke. And of course, we'll all be wondering the big question, what started this fire? That will come later as crews investigate. But for now, Ralph did mention he didn't see anyone being transported, but we are standing by waiting to hear from fire officials. Was this an occupied warehouse? When did the call come in? We didn't see others around. You know, sometimes you obviously evacuate. We haven't seen any of that, but we are standing by. As soon as we get that information, we'll of course bring it to you.
And as you mentioned, Lorena, one of the big questions being what was inside that warehouse. Clearly something that has made this a very difficult fire to battle for those crews on scene. We want to welcome our viewers just joining us here for 7 News at noon. Our special coverage continues of this major warehouse fire in northwest Miami-Dade. We want to go to 7 Sky Force and Ralph Rayburn once again for a look from above. Ralph.
Yeah, we've been on the scene here now for an hour and 15 minutes. The fire was dispatched at 10:45 this morning, 206th Street and Northwest 47th Avenue, west side of the street. Heavy smoke and flames from the inside. By the time the firefighters got here and determined that there was a lot going on, they started dispatching more and more units here. It quickly escalated to a 4-alarm fire. You haven't seen a whole lot of those in a long, long time here in South Florida. 4-alarm fire means that they brought out just about anybody that's available in Dade County. Not only that, but in Broward County, the Miramar folks sent a number of units out here working in tandem, so it's a mutual aid call here, everybody helping out. Unknown at this point how the fire started and or if there were any casualties or injuries here. We have not seen any since we arrived here. We got here probably maybe 8 or 9 minutes after the fire started. In the meantime, the fire department was able to use, using their mapping guides and the information that they store, they determined that there was an 8-inch water main system around this warehouse area here that they would be able to tap into, a number of hydrants. So that's why you see all these streams of water set up with different aerial ladders and different ground crews trying to fight the fire. A short time later, they determined that there were caustic and hazardous chemicals inside, and they, with the smoke blowing from the east to the west, the group of firefighters that were working on the west side were asked to move north or south and get out of the way of the smoke there. Even though they're on breathing systems there, they want to make sure that they identify what chemicals and the nature of them and the hazards that are involved with it. That includes the hazmat team that is out here helping in this. They set up a command post right here on 47th Avenue right in front of the fire, and you can, on the east side of the fire, and you can see all the fire trucks there assembled there. Now, we indicated earlier that a lot of times what they'll do is they need the firefighters even more than they need the pieces of equipment when they do a firefight like this, because they deploy them to help with moving things and with cutting holes in fences and getting hoses into areas on the ground that they would otherwise not be able to do. They're allotted about 20 to 25 minutes of time on the air that they, the tanks that they carry. They're then processed through a rehab area where they're checked out, blood pressure, heart rate, all that other stuff, make sure that they're good to go back in and continue the firefight. So for an hour now and 20 minutes, those firefighters from Dade County and from Miramar have been doing that. In the meantime, the roadway here in front of the fire on the east side is closed to traffic here for pretty much 215th Street on the north side and the Turnpike. To the south side, probably down to about 200th Street or so. Fire continues to burn. We've seen a great degradation of the smoke from very, very heavy black smoke early on to a little bit more on the gray sides there on the outer edges. Those are usually the areas where the fire is receiving water, which is being applied. Very intense smoke, very intense flames. Actually, on the outbuildings here on the south side, we saw several vehicles catch fire that were parked close to the fire where the fire source was and had not been able to move, so they also caught fire. That pretty much wraps up what we have for you. I'm going to pitch it back to you guys in this station.
And Ralph, just want to emphasize something you pointed out there, that this warehouse did contain chemicals that were flammable, which would explain the magnitude of this fire. So that is some key information that we have learned as firefighters once again continue to try to get this under control.
7's Alex Browning is there live near the scene where we still see that smoke behind you, Alex.
In Lorena, Ethan, you talk about how intense this fire is, and that's exactly why the perimeter here is so big. We're about 215th Street and 47th Avenue. Police not letting anyone north or south because part of what Ralph said, they want to allow firefighters to be able to access different access points for water, those hydrants, those canals to be able to tap into to try to fight this. Let's go ahead and take you up above once again and give you a visual vantage point from Ralph's point of view there as this massive blaze. We've only seen this fire intensify as we came down south from Broward, 25, 30 miles away from the actual warehouse here in Northwest Dade. We were able to see that huge plume of black smoke there. Now let's go ahead and show you what things look like earlier. Those thick plumes, like I mentioned, dumping into the sky here, visible from miles and miles away, dark and black, showing you just how intense these flames are. Again, this fire ripping through a massive warehouse here just to the south of the North Dade dump. If you're familiar, that's the Turnpike and 47th Avenue. You can actually show you some of those massive flames as it ripped through this warehouse. The reports of this fire went out just around 10:45, just shy of an 11 o'clock this morning. Again, this massive firefight begins. You heard Ralph talk about a massive response, a 4-alarm fire. That means pretty much any available unit from Miami-Dade Fire Rescue responding to this. as well as Miramar as a mutual aid. You can see those first responders there assessing, trying to determine their best way in a defensive posture to fight this massive firefight. Like I mentioned, these flames ripping through this warehouse, a part of it collapsing this morning as fire crews tried to get to their best vantage points. Now, as we talked about all morning long through our special report, this fire, the black smoke coming from it, massive, pretty much visible from any part of South Florida. We caught up with some folks this morning as they went about their day, spotting the massive plumes. Take a listen.
In my backyard, I saw what I thought was gray clouds, so I peeled back my curtain and I saw a huge amount of smoke pouring into the sky, and it alarmed me. So I said, you know what? Let me look outside and see what's going on. And I see a helicopter flying, and I see a lot of smoke. So I hear sirens. I still hear the helicopters flying above. Right now, I'm seeing a lot of smoke going into the air, which seems to be calming down a little bit, but it's still a lot of smoke coming from that site.
A lot of smoke, but from where we are, and maybe it's the winds helping us, we don't really smell anything. No toxic fumes, really nothing what we usually smell, but that really could be that easterly wind really pushing all of this to the west. No real road closures impacted by this besides 47th Avenue. Again, a pretty large perimeter here. We're at 215th Street. You heard Ralph there to the south, just about 200th Street, 199th closed along 47th. Because of this, a little bit of a slowdown when we were coming this way along the turnpike because folks are slowing down to try to take a glimpse of all of this. But again, a massive firefight. From what we can tell, no confirmation though, but it appears this is some sort of storage container facility here. But again, we do know there were chemicals, hazardous materials here reported by first responders. So again, no real answer to what sparked all of this, what exactly this warehouse holds. But again, a massive fight here along the county line as firefighters try to get this thing under control. Back to you guys.
All right, Alex, now we want to get to one of our live cameras. It's the county line, and look at that. It almost looks, I mean, that's what you're seeing right now. It almost looks like some storm clouds, Jackson, but they're not. It's a lot of smoke. Tell us about the wind conditions.
Well, we definitely could use the rain, but there is no rain out there. And the wind has been one of the big factors that has been allowing for this fire to spread pretty quickly. That on top of the chemicals that are reported to be into that warehouse. Here's a look at what our storm tracker radar shows, though. This is a look at the plume actually showing up very clearly on radar with that northwest direction. So the plume of smoke is being shifted off toward extreme northwestern parts of Miami-Dade, southwestern parts of Broward. A lot of the smoke, at least from all of our camera shots we've been showing you over the past hour or so, shows most of that smoke just above the ground. So that's at least good news for now, that the worst the visibility and the worse the air quality remains above where us humans live. But the concern going forward is that some of that smoke could sink closer toward the ground and reduce the visibility. So for now, we're seeing a lot of that smoke spreading across the skies, right across parts of the Florida Turnpike, right by the big turn there, and over toward I-75. That's where we're also seeing the smoke. So right by Miami Gardens, near Palm Springs North, western parts of Pembroke Pines, Miramar, Southwest Ranches, even by Weston across US 27. That's where we are especially seeing the smoke and those menacing looking skies. Again, there's no rain out there. That's all because of the smoke. And I'm going to pop on the winds here as well, because the winds have definitely been a factor. They've been strong, so that has definitely made it a little more difficult for the firefighters to get a handle of this active fire that continues to burn. Closest observation shows sustained winds at the ground level up to around 18 miles per hour. Northwest wind again, or southeast wind again, will continue to blow that smoke off toward the northwest. I also want to see if I can pop up the gust here as well, if we're seeing any stronger gusts. We definitely are seeing some of those stronger gusty winds as well, with gusts up to around 25. So with those winds, it will continue to spread, and at least we have no rain in the forecast for the rest of today, besides maybe a spotty shower. So it's going to be all about these firefighters getting hands on this fire as we go into this afternoon.
All right, Jackson. Yeah, a lot of big job on their hands at the moment, and we want to go back to our live pictures from 7 Sky Force above, and Ralph Rayburn, who's been watching this. And Ralph, what appears to be some progress being made in getting this fire under control.
Yeah, some progress, and as Jackson alertly pointed out there, the wind is a major factor in this firefight for the firefighters on the ground there, because we had a wind shift, according to them and the equipment they're using, just a slight wind shift that changed the vector of the wind a little bit to the more to the northwest than it was just a short time ago, at least in the area right here. So they did move some of their assets already, and a couple of the firefighters that are using the big aerial ladders with the streams up on top are actually changing the fittings on the end of it to change the amount of water that comes out and the distance that it will travel to increase that to help fight the fire. So that was a good one there. Again, we're just going to give you a quick recap here. 206th Street, 47th Avenue, a massive warehouse fire. Unknown if any injuries occurred or if there are any casualties here, but the building pretty much decimated by the fire. It spread very, very quickly through here. 10:45 was when it was dispatched. An hour and coming up on an hour and a half later, it continues to burn. The smoke degradation that we talked about a little bit earlier, it comes and goes. So sometimes there's a lot of gray smoke. It's when the water's having an effect on what's burning. Other times it's hitting other surfaces that are not burning, and of course then the fire gets a chance to kind of rekindle and keep going. We know that there are caustic and hazardous materials inside here. It's a 4-alarm fire, which means they have all hands on deck here from not only Miami-Dade County but also from Broward. The Miramar firefighters sent a bunch of units down here to work in tandem with the county here. The roadway in front of this fire, which is on the east side, that's 47th Avenue, is closed to traffic all the way from the turnpike there at the top of the screen. That's that ribbon you see going from left to right down here to the bottom. I want to say this is 199th Street right here at this intersection where firefighters have the roadway blocked there. Again, you can't go northbound or off to the top left-hand corner of the screen there. It's blocked off so that the firefighters could put those assets that we said out here on the street and then assemble, create a command post, create divisions, in other words, areas of concern that where they're going to deploy firefighters. And then within about 25 minutes or so, they had 3 or 4 streams of water on the fire. Now they have about 7 or 8 that we have counted here as they attempt to bring this fire under control. Again, I want to just reiterate, we do not know about casualties or injuries or how the fire started. We're working on getting you that information. That's our story here in Skyforce HD. I'm Ralph Rayburn reporting live.
Ralph, question for you. Just to give us an idea of this location and what's in this area, it appears to be more of a commercial area than residential. Do you see any homes or other businesses sort of downwind of the smoke?
Well, actually, to the top of the screen, once you cross the turnpike there, you've got Miramar and that area right up in there, and of course a lot of residential. The general area right around this warehouse is more warehouses, and then there's a mobile home community here just below us. That's to the south. Out to the west, you have the landfill, and then you have residential communities stretching all the way out there towards US 27, most of that up in Broward County. The smoke, as it rises, because of the heat, it's rising there. It is about, well, we're at just about 500 feet here, and it's about even with us here as it continues to move off to the west, as you've seen on the satellite pictures that we've been, or the maps that we've been providing. So right now, we do not believe it's having a major effect on people out there. But of course, as I guess one of our other folks suggested, if you have respiratory ailments, this is not the kind of time or place that you want to be being outside if you can get back into the air conditioning. So, and otherwise, we'll continue to monitor. We're going to take a fuel break here in a couple seconds, and then we'll get back to you.
All right, Ralph. And you mentioned it, the mayor of Miami Gardens, we have a note here that apparently issued an automated call for residents who are, again, in Miami Gardens, many of them reporting seeing the smoke from their own backyard, and that automated call warning them to stay inside. As we continue to look at these live images, Viv described it. It's impressive when you're driving by and you see such heavy smoke. It's a couple of miles away, but it seems so close, and it's so scary. Ethan, many of the callers were saying when they saw such a scene, the first thing they thought about was, oh no, did a plane go down? What happened? With all that's happening in the country and the world, unfortunately, your mind goes to that place. So it's very shocking and impressive to see as we continue to look at these different angles of that smoke that continues to billow into the air there. So as you heard, 712 Rayburn, he's going to get more fuel, but he talked about the firefighters who are on the scene. And again, we've been talking about that as well. They have quite the fight ahead of them. Much respect to them. They're in the front lines, breathing this smoke. And he mentioned that there is a tent set up. They have, I don't know exactly how it all operates, but they're going to have to be checking themselves and, of course, being very careful. They don't know what exactly is inside of the warehouse, which is what we've been talking about as well. Obviously flammable and very dangerous, so they had to stick to one side of the building there.
And it is such a massive fire, obviously, Lorena, but it's important to sort of give the scope of this, which is, you don't have to be along the county line to see this. You could be miles and miles away and see this massive plume of black smoke that's been billowing into the air for over an hour now. We keep pointing out, anyone with respiratory issues or health conditions that they may be concerned about should definitely take this into account, particularly if you are downwind of this fire and this smoke. As we've been pointing out here on Jackson's radar, Storm Tracker radar, the radar is even picking it up, that smoke, all the way over, as Vivian Gonzalez pointed out, onto I-75.
Yeah, and for more on that, let's get to Jackson Dill. Jackson, tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, as you just mentioned, Ethan, that radar picture continues to show that plume of smoke very clearly here with that southeast wind pushing that smoke into extreme northwestern parts of Miami-Dade, southwestern parts of Broward as well. So right by the Turnpike, I-75, that continues to be the main areas where we are seeing that thick plume of smoke, mainly over the area, not right at the ground level where we do live, but up higher up in the skies where we do have that thickest plume of smoke. But as we go about the rest of today, some of that smoke could settle closer toward the ground. Even until that happens, we will be concerned about reduced air quality. You can see in that live view on the right side of your screen how the darkest of that smoke is getting lofted right up into the sky. But some of that will settle back down, and so that's going to be the concern. If you are especially sensitive to poor air quality, you will want to stay inside. And really for most people in this community, it's going to be better off to stay inside or wear a face covering to protect yourself from the smoke, because we don't know what's burning. It could be pretty harmful for us. So definitely seeing that smoke continue to spread, especially across that part that you see on the radar picture where you see that green. That's not rain, that's the smoke that the radar picture continues to pick up on, with that southeast wind shifting it toward the northwest across southwestern parts of Broward. So especially western parts of Miramar, western parts of Pembroke Pines, right by Palm Springs North, even across Miami Gardens and up through Weston. We could be looking at some of that reduced air quality going forward for the rest of today. Lorena, Ethan.
All right, Jackson, good info there. And we do want to get to a Miami Gardens resident, Kennedy Bergeron, I'm told, is on the phone with us. Kennedy, if you could tell us where you are, what you've been seeing, what you've been hearing.
Hey, so it's Kennedy over here. I'm over here in Miami Gardens. I'm super close, so when I came home from my meeting, it looked like a house was on fire, which is insane. But right now, as I stand out in my front yard, the smoke is just engulfed as if like some big building was on fire. But seeing how it's a warehouse, I am a little concerned that there's chemicals being burned right now, but I'm being advised to stay inside and be safe. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. But right now I'm watching a helicopter just going in circles to kind of like control the area. But it does look pretty intense. It looks scary, kind of.
And you definitely want to stay indoors. We got a note that the mayor of Miami Gardens sent some sort of call. Did you by chance get that call?
I didn't know. I haven't checked my phone. I'm probably sure I did. But if there was a call, I'd have to check. But I haven't received a call yet, but I'm sure he did call.
Kennedy, forgive me if you said this already. Are you planning to leave the area to get away from the smoke?
Well, I actually have a test because I'm doing a criminal justice test to become a law enforcement officer, which is kind of ironic, thanks to all the people out there that are controlling the fire. So I'm not going to be in the area, thankfully. I'm going to be away from it.
Oh, and you want to be in law enforcement when something like this happens. We did talk about much respect to the firefighters who respond. They keep us safe and they're in the front lines. When something like this happens, tell us, does it further inspire you and joining that career?
It actually does. As I was sitting here watching the smoke, I was hoping that, I'm hoping that no one is harmed and everyone is okay. That's your first go-to. And then the second go-to, the instinct in me wants to go help, but obviously I'm not a law enforcement officer or a fire rescue. But someday I really hope that I'll be able to do exactly what they're doing and put their lives on the line to help people.
Any family or friends in the area that you've spoken to, Kennedy, who are saying they're seeing this too? And if so, have they said they want to leave, they're staying inside?
I have friends that do live in Miami Gardens and also Miramar area. But they're just staying inside watching the news right now because they don't want to, inhale any of the smoke or chemicals. And then I have some friends that are away that are seeing it on the news. So I think it's definitely something you want to stay inside because the chemicals, made this way worse than it looks. It looks way worse in person.
Wow. Yeah, that's what everyone does describe, anyone who's driven through it, that it's very impressive to see in person. If you've seen it, have you been watching our coverage on TV or have you seen it? Can you compare what it's like to, it's probably nothing like TV, correct?
Not at all. Seeing this in person is definitely different than seeing it on TV or on Instagram or social media. It's more scary in person than it is on social media. It's way bigger, way darker. You can definitely tell that there's some kind of chemical reaction going on here, and it does not look safe at all, especially for those surrounding in the area.
From our cameras, it looks like we've been able to see a little bit more white smoke, Kennedy, compared to what it was like right after this fire ignited, when it was just entirely black, thick plumes of smoke. Does it look like that in person? Are you noticing sort of more white smoke, which would indicate they're making some progress on this fire?
I do, actually. From compared to when I saw it happen the first time this morning, compared to now, you can definitely tell that the fire is dying down a little bit, and they're doing their best to stop it because there is a lot of white smoke mixed in between.
Okay. And our meteorologist, Vivian Gonzalez, she was in the area. She noticed that she started to smell it a bit. I know you're staying indoors. That is the right thing to do. So we'll be standing by. The big question is, like you mentioned, we do not know what's burning. We do not know what started this. We'll hopefully find all of that out as the investigation plays out. But you said you never stepped outside, correct?
No, when I first seen it, I was outside because I was coming home. But then the only time I stepped outside was to take the video that I sent in to you guys. But I stayed inside because I don't want me or my toddlers to have any of the smoke in the house.
Absolutely. That is
because I have no idea what's in it.
And that is
Plus
exactly
it's smoke.
right. The safe thing to do.
That's right. Kennedy, please stay safe, you and your kid. We want to make sure everyone stays safe, of course, and really emphasize what Lorena pointed out a moment ago, which is that the mayor of Miami Gardens is urging everyone in the city, everyone in that area really, downwind of this fire and the smoke, to stay indoors if at all possible, because as Kennedy pointed out, we just don't know what is in this smoke. We do know that it is likely chemicals burning in this warehouse.
Okay. Kennedy, thank you so much. We want to get to Stephen J. Gray. He's joining us now with more. Stephen, another vantage point. There's the drone.
Good afternoon. Yeah, this is quite a fire here this morning that started and is blazing into the afternoon. I have to tell you, I have been in this warehouse before. This warehouse is frequently used by auction companies. They sell furniture. There's vehicles. It's a multi-purpose warehouse. They also have freezing capability through portions of it. And you can see this whole warehouse is completely destroyed. Now, firefighters have been putting out hot spots here. But you can kind of see here from 7 Drone Force that this fire is nowhere near out, although there is some gray smoke, and that means they're knocking things down. But look, the warehouse is knocked down. Well, there you go. There's a hot spot coming up right now. I hope nobody was trapped in here at this fire. As you can see, it spread rapidly. And let me show you something here. Look at all the fire equipment, all the men and women on scene here trying to knock this out. This whole roadway is completely shut down here, and obviously nobody is getting through. You can see some of the storage vehicles and buses and 18-wheelers that were part of this massive facility here that is completely burning down to the ground. Now, I went on the west side of this fire. Very hazardous smoke, not good to breathe, just nothing but bad news there. You don't want to be a part of this if you live in this area. The good news is most of the smoke is blowing up rapidly, but if you are in an area where you are getting some of the smoke, try to get out of there. It's not healthy for you, and everybody is seeing the smoke throughout South Florida. Now, we're purposely staying away from the firefighters because we definitely don't want to interfere with their operation with 7 Drone Force, so we're staying far east from the situation, but I want to just show you guys that it is quite a scene. And here's another thing, too. Look at all these hoses. Nobody can pass through this, not even the fire trucks, because it's just not safe, and if you hit one of those hoses, it could cause the hose to burst, and then it goes spraying water and can hurt somebody on the street. I'm going to pan to the south here and show you all the police and fire rescue folks that are on scene here. Let's come up a little bit. We're cleared to go up to 300 feet. We're like at 125 right now, but just look at this place. It is blazing from, this is the south side here, all the way to the north side. There is nothing left. This fire has consumed this warehouse in rapid time. And with all the stuff that, when I was there for the auctions, furniture, rugs, just everything you could imagine, once that goes up in flames, it's like a tinderbox. So we're on it with 7 Drone Force here. We're going to stay on top of it. And obviously, as soon as we get more information as to maybe what's going on here as far as whether or not this fire was accidentally started or was some type of other failure, we're going to bring it to you first.
Stephen, you're the first person we've spoken to who says that they have been inside this warehouse before, so that's some good information for us. You said it's used by auction companies and is typically filled with furniture and rugs. Are you aware of anything else that could be inside that warehouse that would strike you as particularly flammable?
This massive warehouse. So, I mean, they could have vehicles in here. If you look at Global Warehouse Solutions on their reviews, they say they have dry storage and they've got shelves. It's like, imagine being inside a hardware store, a massive Home Depot or Lowe's, and they've got all the racking and shelving. So all that material that's in there, and that's another thing too for these firefighters. They're not going to go in there. It's way too dangerous. You saw on the south side, I saw some of Ralph Rayburn's footage earlier of the south side where the garage doors open. It's tempting, like, hey, let's go see what's going on there. Oh, no. It is just too dangerous. It's the place is already collapsing, and the last thing we want is have any of the men and women firefighters that are risking their lives every day here in South Florida to get hurt. It's just way too dangerous.
All right, Stephen J. Gray, thanks so much.
All right, now we want to go to Miami-Dade County Commissioner Oliver Gilbert, who represents this area. I'm told we have him on the phone right now. Commissioner Gilbert, thank you for being with us. What can you tell us? Where are you right now, and what have you been seeing?
I just left my office, and I can see the smoke from my office. I've been in touch with the fire chief, and what he tells us is that this is actually a state. What we believe this to be is a state-run facility, that state-run recycling facility. And there are corrosives inside, which would explain the continuous burn, the accelerated burn. And they're working with DERM to evaluate the quality of the air as they aggressively try to get the fire under control.
And Commissioner, it's my understanding the mayor may have alerted residents. What is your message to residents in the area?
I've been all over the place, and we're putting it up on social media. Stay inside. Stay away from this. Let the firefighters try to get this under control. Listen, there are going to be times for us to ask questions and get answers. But right now, what's paramount is that we actually get this fire under control, make sure it doesn't spread, and try to minimize the loss of life, if any, and the destruction of property. So they have a bunch of units out there, 48 at the last count, but I know they have more en route. They have They have mutual aid that's been invoked. So firefighters from Miramar, they're also Miami Gardens police is helping secure the area so we can keep folks away from it. People stay inside and let the firefighters actually get this under control so that we can actually get to the portion of this where we have the luxury of asking questions and demanding answers.
Commissioner, have you spoken to any residents in that area and heard what they're doing, what their plan is right now?
I have not. I've been speaking to our emergency responders, the chief and the mayor's staff. And so what we're emphasizing is it's important that people stay inside.
And Commissioner, when it comes to safety, everyone wants to know, was there anyone there? Any reported injuries? Can you tell us, was this an occupied warehouse? Did they tell you any of that information?
There were people inside. We don't know. There's been no reported injuries today.
Does that mean the hope is that they made it out? They were able to evacuate in time?
That is, we know that a lot of folks did get out, and so we believe that everyone got out, but we won't know until we're able to get the fire under control.
And how do you have that information, Commissioner?
The fire chief.
Commissioner Gilbert, do we have you?
Yes, the fire chief. The fire chief.
Okay, good
I
deal.
spoke with the fire chief.
Thank you so much. It's good information for us. And we're just getting word, we want to tell our viewers that this has now gone from a 4-alarm fire to a 5-alarm fire. So that may indicate that they've still got a long road ahead of them when it comes to fighting this fire and getting it under control.
And Commissioner Gilbert, you mentioned it. You have different units, multiple agencies on the scene there. A 5-alarm fire means anyone who can come out and help is obviously welcomed and asked to do so. Can you talk about the group effort here when something like this happens and what you're doing as you speak to officials? Can you tell us a little bit about the process?
Yeah, it's not anyone, it's everyone. So 5-alarm means that we need every possible jurisdiction to come out, and we've invoked mutual aid. And so we know that happened relatively early because we asked Miramar and Miami Gardens to come in, Miami Gardens PD to come in. So we know that happened relatively early. It is, and that's why I can't emphasize enough staying inside. This fire, they haven't yet been able to be aggressive in the fire because the fire itself is spreading. And so we want to just let them do their work and get this under control because that's the first step into figuring out what happened.
And we do know, again, as we've been pointing out, that crews have the entire area really closed off. Roads are closed in that area. They're trying to keep people as far away from this fire as they can. Once again, as they get that work done, the most important work, as you pointed out, Commissioner, of getting this fire under control and put out. But of course, one of the other main concerns is people in the path of this smoke who may be breathing this in, particularly people with respiratory issues and other health concerns. As you pointed out, the main message for them is to just stay indoors.
And Commissioner, you have the job to deliver that message. As a member of the community, how devastating is it to see such a warehouse and this massive fire and this smoke take over the community there?
I mean, it's extraordinarily devastating, and just keep in mind that, you know, there was a school that's under construction that's, I guess, being remodeled that's right across the street, but directly to the south of this property, this building, we have and county property that's actually occupied by his house and Center for Family and Child Enrichment. Those are facilities that deal with unaccompanied minors and foster children in the foster. So we're working with them to also make sure that they're fine and that evacuations happen as they need to. And we're working with Durham to actually figure out what's in the smoke, because we're seeing the smoke, and you can see the smoke from as far south as, you know, Opalaka. You can see the smoke from Alibaba. Avenue, you can see the smoke. We don't know what's in the smoke. And so when folks are saying stay inside, it's because, you know, it might not just be something that, you know, burns your eyes. We want you to stay inside until we know exactly what's going on. We get the fire under control, and we measure to see whether what type of harm can actually be done based on us being outside.
So, although it is a commercial or industrial area, right, one may think, well, there aren't any surrounding homes, but this absolutely has an effect that stretches beyond that.
Oh, yeah. And you know, I heard that before. It's an industrial area. that's a little misleading in northwestern Miami-Dade and the Miami Gardens area, because that stuff is kind of really close to residents.
Right.
So it's an industrial area in the sense that there are warehouses directly across the street, but it's a stone's throw away from houses, a school, foster facility. No, this is definitely not just a whole bunch of empty buildings or a whole bunch of warehouses.
And this is middle of the day on a Thursday, when, of course, everyone is at work, children are at school. So those are definitely big concerns, as you pointed out, for people who live in the area, not just commercial.
And our hope and our concern is you gave us the information, Commissioner, that there were people inside who made it out. We did see, presumably, that roof collapse. Our hope is that everyone did make it out. And we will, of course, be waiting for you and fire officials to pass along any new information as it comes in.
Absolutely. If I get something in, I'll definitely call you all back.
Commissioner Oliver Gilbert, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for calling us and giving us some new information.
Yeah, some new information. We're learning that there were people who were inside. They made it out. But again, he talked about the effects that this is having in the community there, urging residents, we do not know what is in the smoke. Please stay inside. We know the mayor also, they released automated calls to make sure that residents do get that call. But many people, like we spoke to a 7 News viewer and a Miami Gardens resident, they obviously made the right call, protecting their family, not going outside because of this smoke. Of course, not only would it affect a healthy person, but definitely someone with respiratory issues as well.
I'm told we have the mayor of Miramar now on the phone with us. Mayor, I'd love to know where you are, what you're seeing, where you were when this all started, and any precautionary measures you've been taking. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I was alerted earlier this morning, I guess, not long after the fire broke out. We received our alert notifications to our officials that the Miramar Fire Rescue Department was assisting Miami-Dade Fire Rescue on a warehouse fire located off of Palm and 47th Avenue. So we, obviously being right across the county line from the location of the fire, portions of the city of Miramar does extend southward, and we do have apartment complexes. There's a mobile home community as well right on the county line that would have to observe all of the cautionary alerts in terms of air quality and all the risk that it poses from the result of the fires that's taking place.
And can you talk a little bit about the efforts? We know that Miramar fire units are on the scene assisting. Will anyone be able to perhaps go and check on people in the mobile home communities or advise, to kind of further out, spread the message of making sure folks stay indoors and stay safe?
Yeah, I'm in the process right now, making sure that takes place. Obviously, based off how the wind is blowing, it is taking the wind right over those communities. So it's very important that our residents that are impacted from this fire are heeding to all of the precautionary warnings to stay inside.
And Mayor, we've been talking to different people. You're also a member of the community. Just to see these images, we're told seeing it in person is striking. It's impressive and scary. Your reaction to see all of that smoke take over the community?
Yeah, when you have such a fire that is ignited, and you see your forces that are all the teams that are doing their best to try to control the fire, you seem almost hopeless when you see the massiveness of this structure fire. We just hope that no one has been injured or even killed as a result of this fire, and we hope that the fire rescue teams can get this fire extinguished as soon as possible.
Mayor Wayne Messam of Miramar, thank you so much for your time and for joining us to let us know what you know and what you've been seeing. We appreciate your time.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, I want to go to Stephen J. Gray now with Drone Cam 7 with another look from above. And Stephen, it looks like I'm seeing more white smoke here. Is that what you're seeing from your vantage point?
We are seeing some smoke, and the smoke are areas, Ethan, where they're knocking down the fire, where they've got the water on the fire, which is this area here. But let me show you a little situation here. This warehouse is so wide and so big that their firefighting hoses can only go so far. So this shot's a little deceiving. You can see them knocking down the fire here in this. This is the northeast corner of the warehouse. You got another fire crew of firefighters here that are doing their thing, working as hard as they can with the equipment that they have. But here's the dealio. They can't get to these flames in the center of the warehouse, and they're not going to mess with those flames. It's just not worth the risk. So, unfortunately, that's going to have to burn. Now, a lot of the folks have been calling in with awesome information. You don't want to breathe this. And we're going to send Joan Force here, not over these firefighters, but we're going to send us a little bit over here and show you that the good news is, for most people, the smoke is going up. The wind is taking it away, and if you are in any area that's west of here where you are getting affected by the smoke, and what I see here is it looks like that is just storage. I don't see any, I know there's a trailer home, a mobile home just west of here, but it looks like nobody is really being affected unless they are on this property. But once again, for your safety, if you're in a zone where you are getting this downwind smoke, which is toxic, by the way, because there's plastic, there is all kinds of chemicals in this warehouse, whatever you do, do not even think about inhaling this smoke. It's just too dangerous. And the good news is, as you look at 47th Avenue here, all these firefighters and police, they're not going to let you in here. It's just not happening. But once again, this fire is definitely not under control, and it's probably the biggest blaze I've seen in this section of South Florida for quite a while.
All right, Stephen J. Gray there. We'll be staying on top of this. 7 News. We'll be right back.
An important message for Americans ages 50 to 85.
You seen that life insurance thing I got in the mail?
From Colonial Penn?
Yeah, that's it.
It's over there.
The recycle bin.